Hi everyone. Let's start with a hello. So we're gonna do a seated hello, but you do have some choices. So think about what you want to do with your time, maybe some mindful listening, breathing, paying attention to your thoughts, paying attention to your body, sending some kind wishes, looking with your animal eyes, or noticing emotions using some anchor words. So any of those, decide which one you want to do for hello. And then let's be in our mindful bodies together. Just settling in, see how still you can be. Think about closing your eyes or looking down if you want to. And then spending some time with what you chose. All right, so hello. Thanks for doing that. Just take a minute to notice how you feel right now. I was doing some mindful listening. I heard a lot of like clicking noises or popping noises. And I think one was my clock, but the other one, I don't know what that was. All right, so we're gonna do some practice today on our being mindful of our emotions. And I wanted to start with just the idea that all emotions are okay. And, you know, when you think about some emotions are really hard to deal with, like when we feel angry or we feel scared or we feel sad. And sometimes it almost feels like, oh, I shouldn't be feeling this way. But it's not true. So any way that you feel is okay. And any emotion that you have is okay. And the other thing about it is that everyone feels that way sometimes. I mean, everyone feels angry. Everyone feels sad. So we're all together in that, even though it feels like we're not sometimes. You know, like if you're mad at someone or someone's mad at you, you feel kind of apart from them. But we are all connected by our emotions because we all feel the same emotions at different times. Even teachers, even parents, everybody does. So however you feel, it's okay. What we can do is put some effort into making better choices when we're feeling those difficult emotions. So I know that Mr. Raper's class and I have talked about things we do when we're angry. And for me, I like to do like an occasional door slam or an occasional like stomp, you know? And I always say that those are okay for me because they don't hurt anybody. You know, no one gets hurt if I stomp my foot or slam a door. And so that's kind of how I look at it, is finding ways that aren't going to hurt anybody to deal with it when we feel angry. So for you, maybe something similar you like. I know there's always like punching a pillow or like taking a pillow and like whacking your bed with it or something like that. You could always grab a pillow and like scream into it. You could go outside and run around. You could like find a stick outside and like whack the ground with it. You could kick a ball as hard as you can. So things like that, right? Things that let us like let our anger out a little bit, but they don't hurt anybody. And then same thing with words, right? Like even though we're angry, sometimes we don't want to use words that are going to hurt other people. So finding ways to deal with that too. I like a little like growl sound sometimes, like a little grr. That makes me feel better sometimes, which I know is kind of weird, but it works. So you might think about a word or a sound you can make that won't hurt anybody's feelings, but will make you feel a little bit better. Just something to think about. All right, so when we practice our being mindful of emotions, we're just spending a little bit of time identifying emotions and like noticing how they feel in our body and in our mind. And the more we can recognize how they feel, the more we can deal with them better. So if I notice that my hands are clenched up like this, I'm like, oh, my body's telling me that I'm angry. Or sometimes I notice like my shoulders get up like this, right? And I'm like, oh, it's my body telling me that I'm nervous about something or I'm feeling anxious. So we're noticing, we're taking that information, and then hopefully we're using that information to choose how to respond to how we feel. So in our practice, we're just going to notice any emotions that we feel, and we're going to use some anchor words to name them. So for example, if I'm doing, I think we'll do mindful breathing today. If I'm doing my mindful breathing and then I notice thinking about a doctor appointment that I have and I'm nervous about it, I'll notice that I'm nervous. I'll say the word nervous in my mind, and then I'll go back to my mindful breathing. Or maybe I'm doing my mindful breathing and I remember something really funny. So I'm like laughing and feeling silly. So I'll say silly in my mind, and then I'll go back to my mindful breathing. So we'll notice any emotions, we'll name them in our minds, and then we'll go back to our mindful breathing. Let's give that a try together. So we be in your mindful body, your seated mindful body this time. Just like always, we'll settle in. Sometimes I like to take a really deep breath at the beginning, and then as I breathe out, I let my body get really, really still. You might try that. I'm thinking about closing your eyes or looking down. And then we're going to bring our attention to our breathing. You might notice your anchor spot. You could put a hand there. We're going to focus our attention on breathing. And then we're noticing any emotions that we feel. We're naming them. And then we're going back to our breathing. Let's spend a little bit of time on that. All right, thank you for trying. Again, just notice how you feel after that. I was laughing a little. I was feeling a little like silly, I guess, because of those weird clicking noises that are going on in my classroom here. And I really don't know what they are, but there were so many of them that it like almost was this ASMR situation with all that noise, and it was creeping me out a little bit because I don't like ASMR videos. But I was also laughing about it, so who knows what's going on in here. All right, so again, I did want to say one more thing about the emotion stuff, about crying. I have a rule for myself that I don't like to cry at school, because who wants to see the teacher crying at school, right? But in general, I think crying is okay. I think it's just fine. So if you're like me and you're kind of a crier sometimes, don't feel bad about it, right? Again, it's your body giving you information, letting you know that maybe you're sad about something, and that's okay. So criers, it's okay to cry anytime, even at school. All right. Thank you so much for practicing with me today. For our goodbye, I think I'll make the bowl sing for you, since I know you like it. And then I'll see you soon. Okay, so we'll be back in your mindful body one more time. We'll hear the nice singing. All right, I hope you have a good day. I'll see you soon.